Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I'm going to probably ruin your mood here and say this is the second and last video of the day. There will be no later on video if you're not aware, okay? This video, we will be really talking about a new bit of interest. I didn't see it coming personally. We've got an update around Brennan Johnson, an update around Tanguy Ndombele, and yeah, a little bit to sort of go into today. So we're going to jump straight in. Let me start with Tanguy Ndombele. So we know that we basically need to ship off some deadwood. We have obviously reported on the fact that Tanguy Ndombele has not impressed Ange Postecoglou and the coaching staff with his application through training, as well as his tardiness and being late to training. So we've also talked about how he has interest from Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. And this came from Aksan that says that Fenerbahce are to increase their offer for Tanguy Ndombele from 10 million euros to 13 million euros, and there's a belief the transfer could be agreed. I do kind of see the rumour mill, the interest, and just genuine publication and reporting around Tanguy Ndombele, and it has been stepping up quite a little bit over the last sort of few weeks, and I do think we are starting to come to the end of this. I wouldn't call it a saga because it's not been going on like a Harry Kane situation. But I do see a resolution coming shortly. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next couple of days, but I do think we will be moving off of Tanguy Ndombele this window and moving off of him permanently. You and I, in the comments, we've always said it's a shame that he didn't work out at Spurs. There was so much potential and so much excitement when we did get him, and it hasn't really worked out. And it's one of those things. These things happen in football. But we do now need to move off of him. We do now need to move off of a few other players, not just Tanguy, but we do now need to kind of step up our game really when it comes to moving off players. So speaking actually, ironically, about another one that will be leaving, well, potentially leaving at least. This comes from Football Insider, and this is about Troy Parrot. I know, shocking. I haven't really talked about Troy, and I was expecting him to already be gone by now. But it says that Troy Parrot is a loan target for a number of clubs this summer, including 2 Eredivisie sides, 1 Bundesliga outfit and 1 La Liga team. I would probably say the Eredivisie or the Bundesliga is the way that I would go. I just think we need to send players to a league that has, I'm not going to say similar levels of physicality, because the Premier League is very much on its own in that regard, but is similar in regards to, has a bit of physicality, lots of high press, lots of quick movement football instead of building up from the back, nice and slow, at times quite slow football like the La Liga. So I think that is one to keep an eye on. I do think Troy will be moving on. I haven't really heard about him at all this summer in a good or bad way, to be honest. So when that first came out, I was a bit surprised actually, really. I was a bit like, oh yeah, Troy Parrott still does play for the Tottenham Hotspur. And I was a bit like, oh, he probably does need to go out on loan, yeah. But nicely, he can go to a league a bit better than a League One situation. A Championship's not a bad idea, but there's no harm going to a Bundesliga. That's a pretty decent league to go to, that's for sure. Let's talk Brennan Johnson. So we reported a while back that Spurs do have an interest and admiration in Brennan Johnson. He's a guy that can play as a striker if you need him to. He plays a lot of right wing as well. And after the World Cup that's been obviously last season, he did have a really good towards end of the season. So from Jacob Steinberg in The Guardian. Now, Jacob Steinberg, I definitely think is quite a credible source. I've seen it through the Harry Kane saga. He was very much quite ahead of a lot of people. And he says Brennan Johnson is still a target for Tottenham. It may take in the region of 45 million to convince Nottingham Forest to sell the winger during this summer transfer window. I think when we talked about other deals and how we needed to potentially send players to them, I think Joe Rodon was going to be a potential part of that idea, but I think Jed Spence probably is part of that idea. You might have a Japhet Tanganga, for example, or something like that, where you might go, look, you send us, let's say 10 million for Spence, 10 million for Tanganga, we'll send you 45 for Brennan Johnson. It works out at 25 million. But again, like I explained in a previous video that I released today, and if you haven't seen it, please go have a look at it. It's very interesting. FFP works in a way that you might send a player to someone, they might be sending a player to you, but you do it in a separate deal. So yes, you might be buying someone for 40 million and selling that player for 10 million, and there's a 30 million difference. Instead of doing a 30 million plus player deal, you do a 40 million and 10 million. It still works out the same way, but for financial fair play, it normally works out and balances the books a bit better. But I think Brennan Johnson and Eberechi Eze will be the two guys in terms of that winger attacker position. I would probably say Eze would be the more exciting of the two. Again, I wonder, I think they'd cost probably about the same. I think Brennan Johnson is very key to Forest, as well as Eze is to Palace. But I think they're going to cost 45, 50 million. I really, really do. But I'm going to keep an eye out for Eze news, as well as Brennan Johnson news, because I have seen that West Ham want Brennan Johnson. So, again, if it's something that we're going to want, we might have to act quickly, because West Ham have money to spend. You know, they're getting Ward-Prowse, they're getting Edson Alvarez. The Maguire move apparently has stalled a little bit. I don't really know, but it's not their end, it's United end. So I don't really know what's going on there. You know, they're still wanting Mohamed Kudus. You know, West Ham might be doing some really good business because they're moving Paqueta and moving Rice, but they're replacing him with about 6 or 7 good players, which they really did need. So it might be something that if we do want, we might need to act fairly quickly. Now, the last one. So this came from Rahman Osman, and it said that Tottenham are keeping an eye on Wilfriend Gnonto and his situation at Leeds. Everton still seem to be a front runner, but Spurs not too far behind. If you're not aware, he's kind of just said to Leeds, I'm not playing for you. Let me go. Please sell me to the Premier League. That's in a nutshell, right? If you're not aware, obviously, he joined Leeds back in, I believe it was, September 2022. So only last season. He joined for €4.5 million, I believe, from FC Zurich. So he is 19 years old. I think he plays for the Ivory Coast as well. And this is from Transfer Market. On June 20th, they actually viewed and valued him at €18 million. So Leeds have made really good money on him in theory of his market value, but he's a guy that's kind of been a bit of a maverick and he's holding out. When you look at his season in the Premier League last year, he played 24 times, scoring 2 goals and assisting 4 times. In all competitions, he played in obviously, Premier League 2, he played in some of the Zurich stuff. He had 6 goals and 5 assists in 46 games. So not crazy prolific, but age is obviously in his side. He is predominantly a left winger. So this is why I'm like, well, if he's going to cost something reasonable, fine. And maybe because we've loaned Joe Rodon, we've got a better relationship with Leeds. But we still need a right winger, unless they're going to consider Manor Solomon the right winger. That's the interesting part. If they're going to consider him, then fine, left wing. If they're not, then we need a right winger. And he didn't really play right wing. He played 5 times in, about 32, something like 32 games they'd marked him down as. Yeah, about 32, 34 they marked him down as. They've not gone through all the games of like the Premier League 2 and stuff like that. But he only played 5 times of that. So 1 in every 6, 1 in every 7 games he's playing right wing. Again, if they count Solomon as a right wing, fine. But we count Solomon as the left wing. So that's why I'm like, we need a right winger. Which they'll probably say, he's still got Brian Hill, but he's going to be injured till middle of winter nearly, But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. That's the last one of the day. I'm sorry for that. Unfortunately, I have to go to work. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Hit me in the comment section below. You've got the Tanguy Ndombele news. You've got the Wilfriend Gnonto news. You've obviously got the Brennan Johnson news. You've also got Parrot. Let me know down below about all those situations. We're keen to see what you guys have been saying. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, let's end the video and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, lads.